Good day, everybody. Hope all is well. Welcome to another message from the streets. And this is a special edition, a follow up on the Alpo murder hit. And before I go into it, I want to give a shout out to Rich Porter's family. You know, some of you may know him from they did the movie on him, Paid in Full, show Alpo, AZ, and some other brothers. And I want to also give some shout out to some brothers from New York that had some serious insight on, the Alpo situation. One brother in particular, he actually grew up under Alpo, and I'm going to speak on that in a little bit. But I want to give this shout out to the Real Gully, King Erno, Sub-Zero, Prophet Muscle. Y'all can check these brothers out. They got some real good information, informative information on Alpo. There was another brother. He did gave some information about where Alpo was living at, how he was living, and things of that nature before his demise on October the 31st, 2021, or the wee hours of the morning. Now, I'm from DC. I've been in the streets. I'm about the same age. Matter of fact, I am the same age as Alpo. When Alpo rose to the height of his operation down here in DC, I was sent away, to Colorado for some things that I was into when I was on the streets, and so I wasn't out there when all this situation was going on, but I was, I always got my ear to the streets. I'm from the streets, and I heard about some things that was going on, and some, like I mentioned before, some good dudes had became a victim to this terrorizing that this brother had done. He got a couple of DC dudes up under his wing, and they was hitmen, and it was about the money for them dudes, right? In one sense, you can look at it and say how they let this outsider come in and influence them, but money at the crack era, it was something new for so-called black people to have so much money at one time. You can go in an area, dude, easy have 100,000, 200,000, and some bricks, nice cars, jewelry, so forth and so on. But I'm gonna go into what I wanted to speak on. One of the brothers, he identified, New York dudes as the gods. I want to speak on that because this brother really gave me a good insight on something that I'm going to share with you. Some of you may not agree with what I'm going to say, but, this is some New York type of thing that, most people in cultures know about it through Wu-Tang and Nas and other, guys that speak that talk. So the brother spoke what he spoke, and it made me realize that these New York brothers in Harlem area, particularly, and probably in some of the other boroughs that had dealings with Alpo, they had turned him into a demigod. One brother actually said, he looked up to him, admired him, so forth and so on, and he spoke to Alpo and asked Alpo who he looked up to, and Alpo looked up to a guy named the Preacher, and a lot of people, this guy, the Preacher, had a certain type of reputation. He was a vicious dude, but he also, turned states. He turned into an informant. So Alpo, in his agreement with the government, he was relocated to the state of Maine, if I'm not mistaken, and he was given an alias, Abraham Rodriguez, and that was on his ID. He was in the government protection program, and one of the things is that he had a little lifestyle, had a 3-bedroom little apartment. It wasn't what he probably was used to, but he was actually stuck in time, and he wanted the glory days from the 80s, so he thought things were sweet, so he started to show his face in New York. And some dudes, they heard of him, they respect him because of the notoriety that he had was known to do things to people and do things to people in bad ways, humiliate people, humiliate women, disrespect men. One case I heard, he went to a guy's party and smashed a cake in his face, humiliating the brother in front of his family and his friends. Some other scenarios, they said this guy Alpo, he was notorious for having intercourse with guys in various neighborhoods and blocks with their women, and then have a gathering and put the video on a big screen in front of everybody. And he had the mentality of, yeah, what you gonna do? And I'm bringing this to the forefront because it could have been a lot of different people that were plotting to get Alpo for the things that he had done back in the 80s. He disrespected people, mothers, fathers, family members, killed people, and all in the same sense. He thought that everything was Gucci in a sense. So he went back. One of the things that I spoke on the last take, that these guys, they celebrated them. And let me get back to this God thing. Alpo is a demigod, and a lot of dudes in New York are considered to be the gods of the gods. But what it made me realize, that these gods are actually fallen gods. Because if you got a god, per se, with any nation or any set or any individual claiming to be a god, and they out there selling drugs, murdering people, molesting young girls, doing things that is setting a bad or incorrect demonstration about the advancement and the development of the human thought process. Yes, you may be a god, but you're not a good god. You're a devil god. And a lot of my brothers in New York, you need to take a look at yourself and see, are you actually exemplifying that which determines or defines the definition of a God with, particular types of attributes and, demonstrations to help uplift the people? Because if you're not uplifting the people and you identify yourself as a God, you may be, but you're a devil and you're leading people astray. And I'm going to speak a little bit about that later on as well. So back to Alpo. As I mentioned, that he was, very disrespectful. I learned that when he went back, he traveled from Maine to New York, and he made a little video and took a guy on the pathway, though, that, allegedly that, but ended up to the demise of Rich Porter. So it was a lot of things going on with that. So one thing that I noticed is that some people, say, man, did the DC dudes hit them? Did they send a hit out on them? I'm pretty sure that somebody probably had them intentions. Dudes might have wanted to ride up there, because that type of thing is an open wound in justice, street justice. It just don't end because, that you disappeared or you went away for a while and you came back home, man. You got enemies, man. And this is one of the questions that one of the brothers asked. He said, man, who killed Alpo? I'm going to tell y'all who killed Alpo. Alpo killed himself. Alpo killed himself like a lot of brothers done killed themselves. Brothers killed themselves off in different types of aspects. A lot of brothers killed themselves by pushing death into their arms or smoking death, so forth and so on. But this dude Alpo, he killed himself because of his behavior. And one thing that I identified with from the information that these brothers shared is that he didn't have any remorse. He may have said that he apologized and this and this and this. He wasn't about that life no more. But all the time, he never actually made a real submission and wanted to be a different person, because he was still being the same person. Some of these brothers, they gave the information that these dudes in New York, man, no disrespect with what y'all was doing, messing with this dude is goofy, man. This dude, you working for this dude, and this dude got people out there ready to kill him. You could have been killed just by receiving some work from the dude. You out there working with a dude that is a known to be hot, you know, hot. That's the word to be used in DC. Man, that dude hot. And they saying in New York, straight up, he was a rat. But you out there getting getting moves, making moves with this dude, man. That's goofy, man. And I'm gonna talk about that a little bit later on about the OGs and this goofy junk. But so this dude, no remorse. He went back in a time machine in a sense. He thought things was the same. He wasn't able to make the adjustment. Then let me speak on this because I picked this up from the New York dudes that when he came home, that not too soon afterwards, that he lost his mother and his sisters. They used to ride with him in a sense. They team Alpo, right? So he got things going on with him, man. One dude said, man, that he knew the the laws and the policy of the streets, and himself would have deadened a rat or somebody that was hot, and he knew that his day was coming. But what he said, the dude said that he wanted to live out his last days on the streets of Harlem. I guess there's some type of glorious type of thing he had in his head, but that's another story in a sense. But a lot of dudes do think like that. Now I'm gonna jump off of this alcohol thing real quick and go to another situation because my thing is to address the young brothers and sisters. Previously, I made a statement that said, "Man, hey man, don't follow these OGs." And I wanna make some adjustment in that. Don't follow the OGs that are stuck in time. Don't follow the OGs that is telling you, man, you can go get a brick, you can go, you can do this and this and this and this and that. Because a lot of those OGs, they got experiences on the streets in life, and they using you. They trying to exploit you, and they know what the end of the road for you may possibly be if you're not fortunate, if you don't have, the universe rolling with you to protect you in a sense. And I say that because I was on the streets for many years, and I look back on, I thought I was a bad dude, but I believe that if the forces or the powers that be, the Most High, wasn't with me, I'd have been dead because I was wild like that. And I'm thankful for, for the blessings for my life to be sustained. But everybody didn't have that particular type of covering in a sense. So you got to cover yourself by using your brains and be thinking. Once again, if it's an OG, original goofball telling you can get this keys, get this money, we can go rob dudes, we can make this happen and this happen and this happen, they stuck in time. Brothers and sisters, things are changing. Things have changed, and you got to make an adjustment. And that's what Alpo was unable to do. He wasn't able to make an adjustment. He had hookups and opportunities. He could have took that money and operated legal businesses, but he wanted to be in the limelight, on the block, in the big truck. And yeah, they got him. And let me say this, they got him, and I don't think that it was no regular dude that got him, because they hit him up in his chest, and they hit him up in his chest in 2 or 3 different areas, 3 shots each. They said that the window on the truck wasn't even broke. So whoever hit this dude was a professional. There was a professional hit put out on him. And one guy was like, well, do you think that that whoever shot him going to get caught? I don't think so, because this was well thought out. The moves was, an excellent checkmate move on Alpo for his life. Now, if someone or the dude himself turn himself in, yeah, that might go down. But I don't think that this going to be unsolved joint with Biggie, Pac, Big L, a lot of other jokes going on. A lot of things that never got solved by the police. I don't think this one's going to get solved. I'm about to wrap this thing up, but I just want to tell the youngest, man, it's a better way, man. The way that came before you, that joint is dead. I was in the feds. I was up in New York. I was in the New Jersey at Fort Dix, and I was in Fort Dix. It's a military place. So I'm walking around on a pound. Now let me tell you this first. When you came on the pound and you was from New York, know what they said? Let me see your papers. If you couldn't show them the papers, they wasn't messing with you. And so that means that you was out there. See what I'm saying? You out there by yourself. And New York got a different type of community than D.C. So D.C. dudes, we welcome dudes in. Blah, 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 blah. And then we find out about you. Then there's something going on. But New York, they had like a policy. Man, now you can't walk with us, talk with us, nothing if you don't show us those papers. So dudes showed it, they showed their papers. But what I realized, look, walking around a pound, D.C. dudes snitching, New York dudes snitching, Baltimore dudes snitching, Connecticut dudes snitching, VA dudes snitching, California dudes snitching, Florida dudes snitching, man, Colorado, Mexico, Texas dudes snitching. And then I thought, man, there's so much technology. This over 10 years ago when I came home from the feds in 2007. So I'm thinking about the technology. I said, oh, the game is over. Because anybody out here doing anything, they letting you do it. Then they letting you do it because I spoke on in the previous video on account that there's a part of the economy that is surrounded around the drug trade. People buy cars, people buy houses, people buy clothes, people spend money. So if you cut it all off, you cutting off a part of what has become an infused part of the cultural, financial influx. So I say all that to say, young brothers and sisters, get your knowledge on, get your wisdom on, get your understanding on, and become what you were created to be instead of being out here being what our culture and the society has projected us to be. Because that's a falsehood and a lie. It's not real. All these guys out here, including myself at the time, was being cartoon characters. And there's a whole lot of them out there now. But the thing about being a cartoon character, you can come to the realization of self, become your authentic self, and move from out of that and, find something to live for. You're out there every day on a corner. I know you're saying you're surviving. I'm not going to knock your hustle. But I'm going to tell you, man, you better have a plan. Because this thing don't last forever. Because one thing for sure, the penitentiary, the insane asylum, the grave is waiting for you. See what I'm saying? You may even get, if you're lucky, you may lose a limb or something and you wake up. But the whole thing is, we're unconscious in our community. And we have been fed lies and falsehoods from gangster movies, dealing with Babyface Nelson, John Dillinger, Al Capone, Machine Gun Kelly. These are the gangsters of the European nations that we have emerged into our culture. Man, we better get our, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, Black Panther thing on. Something that's going to uplift the people and uplift ourselves. Wherever your destination leads you, long as you're doing your best and, you trying to help instead of destroy. A lot of us out here, or have been out here, and still out here, is destroying our people. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you this message in love, and I leave you this message in peace. Take care. Peace and goodwill to all humanity. One more thing, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, shout out to those brothers up in New York. And I want to say, back in the days, I had a thing with New York dudes and things of that nature. Now that I'm, matured and I see things on a different level, I like to apologize to the New York brothers for, the malice that I had towards y'all. And also, I have to be respectful, even though I didn't agree with the lifestyle that Alpo lived. I'm going to rest in peace and my condolences to his family, friends, and loved ones. Man, just remember what Scarface said, Brad Jordan. Man, don't believe that song. Gangsters don't live that long. Peace.